Connecting with all of you here today. My name is Fadhila Saad, and I am the MD of Phynx Careers. And at Phynx Careers, we coordinate paid internship opportunities, work training opportunities, work exchange program, culture exchange programs between Ugandan students, fresh graduates, industry professionals with international opportunities. Now, at Phynx Careers, we have seen firsthand how structured training, mentorship, and global partnerships can transform careers and businesses. So whether it's connecting Ugandan professionals to international opportunities or crafting training programs tailored to the industry needs, we focus on bridging the gap between talent and opportunity, which is exactly what strong business linkages do. And as SMEs, we are very intentional about positioning ourselves for growth, seeking the right networks, and remaining adaptable to the industry trends. So I'm very excited about sharing how we can grow together. And today I'm mainly going to talk about um, the opportunities available with business linkages, how SMEs can access and prepare for them, the risks to navigate, and most importantly, how to get started. So the first question is why is it important for us to have this conversation right now? And I'm going to talk about the power of networking. You've all heard the cliche, your network is your net worth, and it's not a catchy phrase. It is a business truth. In today's world, who you know often matters, and in as much as what you do. So at Phoenix Careers, one of the reasons we operate beyond borders is because of people who have trusted us, people who have referred us, and people who have worked with us. So as entrepreneurs, when we talk about building networks, it is not a luxury. We consider it a strategy. And as you know, when you have the right networks, it will always increase, our connections will increase our value. It is our true net worth in business, and we can always depend on our connections to open doors for us, because most people say success depends on who you know. There's a very powerful networking group in this town which always says people do business with people who they like. And also, of course, these are relationships of our networks that we're going to leverage into building meaningful ties for long-term collaboration and growth. One of the big questions I want to address today is, first of all, are linkage opportunities real? Are they real? Are they, do they exist in Africa? And of course, I'll say yes, and in ways we haven't fully tapped into. There are so many opportunities for us because right now Africa is more connected than ever. There is the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which enables tariff-free trade. We have our regional blocks, first of all, like East African Community, the SADC, COMESA, which enhance economic integration. We have diaspora networks that are creating financial and knowledge bridges. We do have the B2B platforms and Pan-African expos that spring up every year. And then we also have many key sectors which have in the past seen cross-border opportunities, especially in the areas of agriculture, tech, trade, and finance. And then also locally here, we have Enterprise Uganda, which also has very many programs for us, which we can also leverage and take advantage of to be able to begin our networking journey. And they do have the best practice, the business enterprise startup tool, which is best, which is a 5-day training that equips each entrepreneurs with practical skills to start and run successful businesses. They have mentoring programs where they match young entrepreneurs with experienced business mentors who provide guidance. And now, as an entrepreneur who's just starting out, You can take advantage of this program so that you can leverage what your mentor knows and leverage their connections so that you can get opportunities. They have agribusiness entrepreneurship training. They have the business health check, which is the most important one that I like because it helps SMEs assess risk and develop strategies and how to mitigate them. So yes, the opportunity is there, and there are very many. So any person who is wondering, are there opportunities? Is it relevant? There are very many, um, regionally and even just here in Uganda. So I think the next thing we need to do is how to access these opportunities with any company that is whatever level you're in. Maybe you're just a startup, maybe you're an entrepreneur who wants to access this global, you know, global connections. The first place to start, you're always going to leverage your digital tools. And then there are so many support programs. And this is, I'm going to go and break them down one by one. We're going to spend a bit of time here. The first important thing is building a digital presence. A digital presence is your ambassador. It's what is going to sell your business. It's what talks about your business before even people see the person who is behind the business. And that is why I always say that someone who wants to start preparing their business for international networks, the first place we are going to prepare is in our mind. We have to invest. You have to look at it as an investment because international networks are trying to getting collaborations. These are an investment. And of course, like we've said, it's a strategy. So you need to spend a lot on visibility. And the first area we are going to spend in visibility is creating a website. It doesn't have to be a very big website. You can even have something as simple as a landing page. The landing page is what talks about your business. It introduces your brand to the world. It says, this is who we are, this is what we are about, this is what we believe in, this is the team behind us, and this is what we want to do. And we believe if you are in a different part of the world, we can still connect and do it together. So you can there's so many free apps these days where you can build your simple landing page, or if you do have the budget, you can hire a professional to do it for you. And that is just the first space that we are going to start. Number two, as you're creating your website, you have to make sure that your house is in order. You have to make sure that your business is registered. Simple, basic things. You can get registered, have a TIN number, have a good payment platform. Just create back-end systems that are going to support your quest. You want to meet people, you want to do business with them, you have to show them that you are valid, that you are registered, that you are not just someone who is a con man. You have to present yourself as someone who is grounded. And of course, it helps if you have a few endorsements here and there. And um, once you have prepared that, then the most important thing is when you're going into communication, how are you communicating? Most times, as entrepreneurs in Uganda, we always start out with our simple email addresses that we've had since high school, where your name is probably Sarah Superstar 1988, things like that. When you are starting out a business and when you want to start getting other connections, even locally, before you go out of your country, one thing you're going to have to do is to invest in a professional email, an email that is on brand. Now, professional emails, most times we get them because we have built a website, but there are other ways these days with technology where you can get a professional email and that you can use to just manage your business. Sometimes it's one. There are so many apps that you can use, like Zoho. You can use Canva itself. Even Google Workspace itself um, has ways they support the person starting out in business by giving you a professional email, which means you can have a business like info at Phynx Careers. You can have something like that, which you're going to use to reach out to people. So a professional email will be good, especially if you have, it also has what can be a minimum, like a business card attached, or what you call your email signature. That one is going to be very important. And then the one thing which I also personally love and use a lot is the LinkedIn account. Now, LinkedIn is like the platform where we all talk about business. Of course, there are so many other platforms, social media platforms where you can connect, but LinkedIn is very important. So when I want to reach out to a partner, I'll always go to Google and look out and see who is in my niche, who do I want to partner with, depending on the vision I have. And then I usually go to the About Us page on on their website, and then I'll look for the key personnel. I look for the key people. You'll see maybe it's the CEO, maybe it's the business development manager, maybe it's the partnership managers, maybe it's the emerging business managers. They always have such titles: emerging businesses, emerging connections, business development, partnership. They always have such names. When you find them there, you click on their profiles, and most times you're going to find their email addresses, you're going to find their phone numbers, and then you go to LinkedIn and look for their profiles, and try to connect with them from LinkedIn. It tells you more about you to do. Maybe you can follow them, send them a connection request, or you can even send them a one-time message with a note attached introducing yourself. And then, of course, now when we go to the same thing, the next step is, once you've writing to them, you have to clarify your value proposition. You have to define the problem you solve and your ideal customers, and how you feel they can help you to achieve this. For example, when I was at Phoenix, when we were trying to coordinate paid internship hospitality programs, we're looking at the key places where they are very good in areas of hospitality. So we're looking at areas like the US, we're looking at European countries like France, and then of course we're looking at areas where people go, like Hong Kong, Bangkok, Malaysia, Malta, Maldives. These are very hotspot tourist areas, but those areas also have five-star hotels, which always have opportunities for students to go and intern. And now, if I want to solve that problem of, yes, I have my university students or institute students who are doing hospitality currently, and I want them to go do their internship so that they can boost their career. They can have in their resume, they can add international experience, they can network, they can get to meet people from other parts of the world, and that increases their value as a chef or maybe front office person. So one of the first things I'm going to do is to define the problem. I will give them my value proposition. I will tell them that, listen, I know you have this program, and I do have students from Uganda who are doing maybe bachelor's and diplomas, and then I'll talk about how Uganda is positioning itself, to be the next tourism, the next tourism destination. And we are trying to solve an issue where we want to train our hospitality students to be able to serve the tourists who are going to be coming from different parts of the world. I will tell them, for example, we have so many tourists who come from the US, and students here also have to learn how to deal with them. So place them, and they'll usually respond immediately and be like, oh, yes, we can place them. How many numbers do you have? And then we shall have that conversation, which leads me to the next step. They'll ask me about compliance. How compliant am I? I'll give you an example still again of USA, where they have a special program called the J1 visa hospitality program. Compliance was a big thing for me. They wanted to know that I'm registered. That's number one. Number two, they wanted me to share Interpol letters, so that of all the directors, so that they know who they are. They wanted to know if we've been paying taxes, so they asked us for our financial statements. They asked us for our bank accounts, all certified copies of our bank statements. They wanted our audited books of accounts, and then even they wanted us to check with URSB and request for certifications showing that, number one, we have never been bankrupt, Number two, we have never been sued, and so many different certifications. And because of that, that first interaction I had a dream, okay, I want to send students to the US, and learning that compliance was a big issue, I was able to prepare all this. So at this point, any country which I'm targeting for collaboration, if they ask me, I am ready. That is number. Then number four, we are going to talk about the professional relationship building. These are the communications. You have to follow up and communicate with consistency and respect. If they've asked you for all this, you have to maintain a communication thread, and you have to always follow up. If you reached out to someone and told them I want to work with you, and they respond, you should not wait for 5 business days, or you should not be the kind of person, because you have your private email which you check every day, and then you have this professional one you created for business, which you never check, you never think about. No, there are ways where you can link them so that you always get alerts. When people see you responding in a timely manner, it also encourages them, and it gives them this energy that you're a person who they can work with, and you're going to be very trustworthy. So now that we have spoken about how we can prepare our businesses, we are going to talk about understanding the risks of cross-border ventures. Yes, much as it's exciting to be able to collaborate with people internationally, one thing you have to understand that not every opportunity is real, and there are scammers out there. Some partnerships are going to drain you instead of growing you, and different cultures have different ways of working. So, plus every country has its legal fine print. That is why we just don't go ahead to connect, we prepare first. Yes. I've already told you how to prepare, but now in areas where you're thinking maybe they may be conmen, a small business or any entrepreneur or any business, there are ways which you can start by to check on if the person who has either reached out to you, or your people you're trying to reach out to, or maybe someone has told you, check on this company, they do this work, just to check and see if they're very good. Number one, you're going to start small. Um, you're going to do your due diligence and use embassies and non-associates. When I wanted to start sending students to New Zealand for hospitality, I chose actually New Zealand as a destination because of their economy. It's very big and they pay more. Students get to earn more money than they would have earned in the US. And also, the visa process for the US Embassy of late has become very complicated for any student related programs. For the F1 visa, for the J1 visas, it is very complicated. So, as a business, I had to always find an alternative. And so I looked into New Zealand, and I love New Zealand. However, for businesses, for agencies in New Zealand to be able to accept students from other countries, they have to be registered with their embassies, and their embassies have platforms online. So before reaching out to, when I would Google and see the companies I'm interested, look at their website, the next step before I even reach out to them, I would go to the embassies and look and check there and see, and okay, is this person registered, are they accepted, are they real? And there are also other platforms where you can go and research the business to see if it's registered. Sometimes there are some companies I wanted to work with, and I saw they had been sued because of negligence. They had been sued because they don't protect the students, and they don't protect their trainees. Some people had accidents. So I noticed I got so much information. So I was able to whittle down to just one or two trusted companies that didn't have all those issues. Right now, we can go through verifying them. Number one, I've said you start small. That is, if you, for example, if someone has just introduced you to another partner who they've worked with, you should always start small with them. Just test a little business deals here and there and check with them. And then number two, you're going to do your due diligence. You're going to conduct market research to assess demand, competition, and sustainability. Like I said, you have to check industry reports, government publications for insights and sector trends. And of course, here in Uganda, you can always use Enterprise Uganda or Uganda Investment Authority for credible business intelligence. Then you have to verify business legitimacy. Much as they want us to be legitimate, you also, before you partner with someone, you have to ensure that they are registered with whatever platform they are. If it's in Uganda, make sure they're registered with the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. Check if they have a TIN number and confirm necessary licenses and permits for the industry. For example, if someone tells you, I want to supply food to your offices, these are now local partnerships. There are certain things you always check before them, you always check with them. And then sometimes, if it is something that is going to involve a lot of money, you should assess financial stability and credibility. You can request their financial statements or proof of funding sources. You can verify if the business has existing partnerships with reputable organizations. Check for past legal disputes or financial irregularities. And of course, you should always check for um, past clients and partners for testimonials. Now, when you're going to go internationally, I can share with you a few examples that you can share with. For example, if you want to look for partners in Kenya, you can check with the registrar of companies, which handles their business and verification. If a company is from Kenya, you can check there. If you want to start with a partnership with someone from Nigeria, you can check with their agency called SMEDAN. It supports SME development and monitors business legitimacy. Um, they are on www.smedag.gov.ng. Then, if you want to do business with countries in South Africa and you want to check for companies and intellectual property, you can check with the Companies and Intellectual Property Commission, which is the CIPC. They provide you business registration and compliance checks. If you want to partner with a business in the UK, you check with the Companies House. They offer business verification and financial records. Now, with companies in the UK and Canada and USA, most times they're going to ask you to pay a very small fee, which you can pay using maybe your Visa card or maybe PayPal. You just pay a very small amount of money. It's not usually more than $3 or $5, and they will share with you a full report about that company internationally. So with Canada, you can go to the Canadian business registries, and they'll always give you the company official records. With the USA, you have to go with the state business registries. Yeah, so these platforms are going to help you ensure company registration, financial standing, compliance records, and ownership details before engaging in those partnerships. Now, I think now we have covered how to mitigate the risks. And right now, I just wanted to briefly share with you for those people, since we have spoken about being visible and attending as many conferences as you are, I wanted to share with you about the Business Week Africa conference, which is going to be in Nairobi in October. I am helping them coordinate it from the Ugandan side. So I'm officially inviting you guys here to come to the Business Week Africa. Follow them on their social media pages. They're going to be hosting entrepreneurs from across Africa. That is as far as Nigeria and South Africa, Kenya, whichever direction of Africa. They're all going to be meeting in Nairobi in October. And the main purpose is to network, to connect with investors. So you should come. They're going to be serious networks, B2B and B2C sessions. There are going to be workshops and panels. And it is also an opportunity for you to expand your market and explore pan-African trade opportunities. And as I wind up this, I just want to let you know that I'm open to mentoring, to conversations for those who want to guide them into cross-border growth. And please follow me. You can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm there as Fadhila Saad. You can just send me a request and then we can begin this conversation from there. And yeah, so if there are any questions, I think that is it for now. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you, Fadhila. It's very interesting because every time we think about networking, we think we just show up in the room, yeah, and wing it. And then, yeah, a few people might like you and want to do business with you. But
Yeah,
what you've said has resonated very well. Building a strong business foundation, having a solid brand, such that when you do show up, you're credible.
that's
Things
true.
we take for granted as social media presence these days, that's where people look for you to understand. As you're talking to them, they are busy searching things
Yes,
they can't
that's
find
true.
on social media. So,
Yes, and actually, right now, social media is going to be something that is very important because if we've realized of late, for example, they have told us we have been receiving information that they are no more. The U.S. Embassy is no longer are receiving applications for students who want to who student applications, and one of the main reasons they're talking about is they want to first verify your social media activity. And in a world where now we are connected globally, you have to be careful what you post. If you want to post, if you want to do business with someone in a country, and you have been very free with your opinions, sometimes that is going to be a deterrent, especially when it comes to politics, it comes to human rights, it comes to, who people are and who they want to be, and you've decided for you, you're going to speak for the world and for whatever you believe in. People look at these things, they want to see who you are. And sometimes people will say, oh, so you work with these people who believe in this, and then you also want to work with us. And they'll be like, we don't have the same values, so we cannot connect. Yeah, so social media and how you brand yourself is very important as well.
yeah. So you've also
Open
spoken
to any
about
questions.
Sean. So someone asked, Grace, is there a free access website that details that preparation of business to enable collaboration? I think you've mentioned a couple. You
That's
mentioned the one
I
with
didn't catch
yeah,
that. What did they say?
yes, if there's a free access website that details preparation of the business to enable collaboration.
Oh, okay, I've seen that. That is for Mary Grace.
Yes.
She's asking, is there a free access website that details the preparation of business to enable collaboration? It seems our problem in Uganda is being straight and in our endeavors, and people need to be informed and trained of this. Yes, now the thing is, there is not going to be one it's not going to be one website because it will depend on what business you're in and what your goals are. For example, if you're in agribusiness and you want to start collaborating with other people, maybe to look for markets or partners, the platform for that, each person you want to collaborate with will tell you what you need. There's no one platform, it's all about research. So the main thing is to just be ready, have everything that you know, have a good presence, like for example have your landing page, have a professional email, have simple things. Even if you don't have a website, have a good business profile that you can share with people. Now for people who do not have websites at this point, with your business profiles that you can create on any platform, or you can even pay these people who do for you graphics to create for you something with good colors that represents your brand very well. With your profile, you can always ensure that you put some business referrals as well, so that in case people want to know who you work with, in case you've worked with other people, you should always include it as well. That is very important. And you can always request for some people to endorse you, or if you've attended Enterprise Ugandan programs, make sure that you include that somewhere so that someone gets to know who you are. The best way is to always just be prepared with the most basic things. And of course, I'm always available to help in case anyone wants me to help them or guide them. Yes.
You share your contact in the chat at some point. Um, Jaya Nakalina says you for the great insights shared. Please advise how to register for the Nairobi conference and the requirements.
Yes, it's Business Week Africa. Just check on LinkedIn and X. you'll just see you'll see the page on LinkedIn, and they're going to talk about what is going to happening. So there'll be some links there, and I think they also have referrals for people who are encouraging other people to attend. They also
Okay.
there's some promotion that's going on there, but please feel free to check. It's called Business Week Africa 2025. You'll see their full details on LinkedIn.
Okay. So those are the questions we had in the chat, but I'm sure most people are wondering how do they get started on the website and other social media presence. So could you speak to us about how to leverage AI to fast track? And, mm,
Yeah, of course. Um, Now, those are two different things: the website and their social, their branding, right? Of course,
yes.
with branding your business, of course, everything starts with with your logo. So, where are you going to design your logos from? Um, There are some free sites which I have used in the past, and they have been very helpful. Like there's one called Logos. It's also called Logos, as you hear the word Logos. That one is there, and then I find Canva very helpful as well. So this will help you not only to design your logos, and there'll also be templates that you can use for inspiration. Now, the important thing is after creating your logo, how they help you as someone who is not very, someone who is very good, maybe you're not good at graphics, you're not good at, like people say, people always tell me, I can't create a logo, I'm not good at IT, as if they're the same thing. So for people who are not good at that, the beauty is once you have a logo, then you go ahead and it will help you create what you call a brand kit. Your brand kit is going to be very, very important for you. Your brand kit will show you how you can present your logo in different ways. For example, if you want to use your logo in presentations, that AI will help you. If you want to do merchandise, for example, like t-shirts, it will help you. If you want to do flyers, if you want to do a website, using your logo, it can do for you the layout of your website. Of course, at that point, you might have to pay for a domain, but there's so many platforms that offer domains at very low prices, some starting even at $4, $5 for a domain, which you can use. And those are, as any business person knows, that would be very helpful. So once you have your domain and you add it there, with logos and Canva, they're going to go ahead. You based on your logo and what you have told them briefly about your business, they are going to go ahead and create for you an entire landing page and a website, and now you can build on that. Those are very simple things to use. And then again, when you go to Canva and even logos itself, they can help you create a professional email signature, which is going to be very, very important. So once you've created your website, or maybe if you go to a platform and you get a professional email, your email signature, which is like that small business card at the bottom, that is going to show you, that will tell people who they are talking to. On that business card, it will have your name, your location, your contact numbers, your social media handles, your it can, with just simple links to whatever information you feel the person you're speaking to should get to know, to find out more about you. So another way you can leverage AI is, of course, is to match you. I've forgotten the name of the site, but sometimes you enter what you do and it will list for you everyone in your niche where who can match with you. And most likely, I've forgotten the name, but just ChatGPT can help with this. You just enter your niche and you ask ChatGPT, can you please list for me in maybe your country, the countries you want to target in such and such a country, who is doing what I am doing, and how can they help me? How can I connect with them? Share websites, share contact emails, and sometimes you can even go further to tell ChatGPT as you're listing them. Also share for me what I need to prepare to be able to work with them, what they'll need. So AI is amazing in that area, and it saves a lot of time. And one other thing that AI can also help us is whereas we are beginning, we also have to focus on when you have connected with someone. It's going to be very important to maintain and build that relationship. For example, if you have built a network here locally, one thing you can do is to also help before they give you, before you take from them, you have to be able to give. For example, if you have met someone in a network, like maybe 3 or 4 people, and they've introduced you to themselves and they tell you what they do, you tell them what you do. When you do have an opportunity, promote their business. First, be a giver, promote people's businesses, people who, of course, you're sure of. Always promote other people's businesses, always promote their networks, always give them, if there's an opportunity for you when you're speaking about something, tag them, give them honorable mention, always throw their names out there. We always say in these WhatsApp groups, we always say that my client would be on your status. So that's where my target customer could be on your status. So if you have maybe a simple network you have with friends and someone is marketing something, if right at that point you can't buy from them, you should repost it on your status. You should be able to repost it, I think WhatsApp status or maybe your Snap or your Instagram stories. Just post people's businesses there, and that is a way of giving back. Another way, if you do have some knowledge or skills that you have and you have time to spare, you should always be able to give of those skills, give of that time. There's a lot of benefit in giving. As someone who's seeking to collaborate, it helps a lot. I have a very personal example. There's a company from India that reached out to me and they wanted us to collaborate on sending Ugandan students to study medicine. They represent a number of universities in India. And at this point in time, I'm not really doing a lot of study abroad programs. I'm focused on scholarship opportunities. However, we did have a conversation and I was able to share with them a few contacts here who would be interested in that sort of partnership. And whenever I'm in rooms where I need where people need those services, I'll always share them and give their contacts. Now, because of that, the other people, that same company is the one which has opened for me doors in France because they have a strong partnership with another partner in France. So when we were having our, once a month catch up, and we're planning what are we doing, because now we have developed from that point where it was just a simple hello, I want to work with you on this, and I have invested in that relationship whereby we even have scheduled once a month because I know we're in the same area, just to share industry trends, what are people doing, how are you maneuvering embassy issues, consular problems. We do have those weekly catch-ups, and we were talking about France, and I was telling them how France is a bit complicated for me. And he was like, don't worry, I have the biggest internship agents in France. They are my friends. And immediately he wrote an introduction email and introduced me. And that is now how I am able to have a presence in France because of giving. It came from giving. It is not always as straightforward as you reach out to someone, I want to connect. No, sometimes if maybe you are not ready to be compliant enough to work with them, you can tell them like, oh, right now I have just started. I don't have ABCD. However, I do have a network that I work here. I'll be sharing. Do you mind if I share your programs? Do you mind if I share what services you have? Do you mind? Things like that. And as you share and share, you realize that even then they will start also, if they meet people there, they will start thinking of you even before you have signed an MOU, even before you've signed a service level agreement. They already start thinking of you as their Ugandan partner. And that one is very key. So anything to do with Uganda when they meet someone else, because you have shown you're open-hearted, you're very transparent, you're eager to build them before you even get anything from your partner. You find they're willing to open doors for you. So before that, you start getting emails saying, "Oh, I got your email from so and so, and they've told me we can work on this and this," and that is how you grow your connections. And I forgot to talk about leveraging embassies. We have so many embassies here in Uganda, which means other countries, foreign missions which are operating here. Some do a lot of consular work, although most have left, and they have deferred to that part to VFS and TSL. However, there are still other embassies that are open for business you should always go to our embassies here, like the Dutch embassy, the Belgium embassy, any embassy that's around, the South Korean embassy, Japan. Go to their websites and look at their business and trade platforms. When you go to these business and trade platforms, number one, they are going to always talk about opportunities. There will always be people from those countries who are looking to work and connect with people in Uganda. And of course, there's some requirements you have to give, but they're always going to be there. They'll tell you connect with this company, connect with this company. It is number one. Number two, they are always going to be sharing workshops that they're planning. If there are workshops and you have to any workshops that they are preparing to host in Uganda, maybe towards a different, maybe how to invest in Belgium, or how to export to Japan, things like that. They'll always be there. You can register and attend those. Now, when you go there, because now already you're talking to people in charge of trade and business, and then they'll always have conferences that they are organizing, maybe in their host countries, sorry, in the countries where they come from, and maybe they're inviting Ugandans. Sometimes we never get to have this information because maybe it's in the newspapers, and as we know these days, not many people read newspapers, or maybe it will be on social media, but you're not following these embassies on social media. So if you check on the embassy platforms once in a while, you always find opportunities. Sometimes they're paid for, but 80% of the times they are free. And sometimes they are fully sponsored. So it's always good to also engage in this. You make it as part of, like I said, it's an investment. And I'm talking about investment, I'm talking about time. Time is a very important investment. Like the Baganda say, "Uchiwo would." So give it time and say maybe from before I sleep, I'll be scrolling through embassies and see what's there, what's happening. Just that. And then you make a note of it. And then using your professional email or whatever, you write out and reach out. Yes.
Hmm. Amazing. Thank you. This is very insightful and very practical. I know you've talked a lot about international linkages and connections, but what you've shared are best practices. The same works for the linkages right here at home, right?
Yeah.
So our audience don't feel left out if you feel like you're not ready to cross borders. The guidelines that are shared work
Yeah.
here as well as the would out there. So yes, we shall share a video and the presentation. Someone was asking, Anne was asking, so many thanks in the chat for the great presentation, Fadhila. Personally, I've learned a lot, and part of my job is to launch with the new countries. So I'll be skimming those embassies to see, find out
Yes.
about the business workshops and engage with the trade platforms. So thank you very much. If you
You're
could
welcome.
please, where can we find you? You mentioned LinkedIn. Is that your preferred space? Okay, so you can find her on LinkedIn. And then just a general note that everyone to register for the best training, which will give you confidence and practical skills to run and operate your business. Um, the link was shared before, if you can share it again so that it's at the bottom of the chat for anyone who wants to register. And you can always go to YouTube or shall share her number. It's also in the chat.
Yeah, I've shared my WhatsApp number. Just share with me a message, and in case you have any inquiries, and I'll be able to follow up.
Okay,
Yes.
fantastic. And please, entrepreneurs, there's an Enterprise Uganda YouTube University. So just look for Enterprise Uganda on YouTube. All these videos are shared there. There's a lot of content for past series that have been covered. It's always good to go and refresh when you're in the situation to look for a relevant topic and refresh your knowledge on the subject. With that, yes, The link has been shared for the best training, so please register. And someone says, yeah, yes, they look forward to keeping your phone busy.
Please do, please do. I did commit to helping, so you could just share and whatever. And please, I see you have shared that link for the best training. That is the best thing you can do for yourself. Antonia has shared the link for the Enterprise Uganda Best Training. Please, even if you've attended before, just register and do that. It is what I have spoken about here. Now you're going to learn about how to be practical. Go and activate my presentation. Go and register for that training session. I don't know, maybe you should talk more about it before we head out because I feel it's one of the life-changing things I attended years back and I've never forgotten. Can you tell them more about BEST? This one,
Yeah,
that's
so
the best BEST training in Kampala.
the BEST a training, like I said, it is really transformation. Many of us have the desire to business and we try our hand in it. But there's a book called The In where it's to your skill as a mechanic. But okay, I can do hair. I'm a doctor. I'm an IT specialist. But how do you transform that into your business? And the business is not just the what, the product that you can offer, it's so many other things. Suddenly you're the HR manager, you're the finance manager, she's talking about marketing, networking. And so be, how do you set up this infrastructure that is going, and you need all those are all key elements of the ecosystem that is going to make your business work. You need all those key ingredients to work together. So how do you bring them to life? That's what this training is about. So it is very important that even if you're in business right now, for you to catalyze your growth, you need to attend the best training. So thank you everyone. I will end it here today. I'm looking forward to having you again. Hopefully again next week. Always a pleasure to have you and have a good rest of the week. Oh, and happy Eid
Yes,
and the other
happy.
upcoming holiday.
Okay.
All right.